Happy Tuesday, Messmate, and welcome aboard the Resilience, where we are starting stream number 56, I think. I should know because I just wrote it down, but here we are. And there is our little game screen. We're upping the stakes here a little bit now. 50 plus days into this daily streaming adventure, or streaming every day to Midsummer, we're learning new tricks. And when I say we, I mean me, and maybe other people are learning to not make silly videos and streams the way I do them, but then we've achieved something too. So today we're going to do what I normally do on a Monday morning, because yesterday I started early because I had a doctor's appointment at the hospital, and then that kind of took the juice out of me for the rest of the day. So today we are going to first of all do a little roundup to check the numbers. Every Monday morning I go through our stats to see how many people read our things, how many visitors did we have, how many views and things. I used to obsess over these things, check them not just once a day, but many times a day. How many books, how many pages, how many this and that. And now I decided that I only do it once a week. So Monday morning I do, or rather Monday lunchtime, I do a roundup of the stats from last week and note them in my little spreadsheet. And once we've done that, we're going to try to do some scheduling. It's another thing I'm trying to do now, because I fell off my social media game completely and I didn't enjoy social media anymore. Still don't, to be honest. Not the way I used to, because social media used to be a community experience for me, and I don't feel that way anymore. And I think it's taken me this long to have a shift in the way I look at it. And now that I think of it more as, renting a shop space on the high street, which is, interestingly enough, the way Twitter started out back in the day. I think it was 2009 or something like that. We got Twitter. And that was very much like that marketplace they talk about, the town square. To me, it was more like a high street where everybody had rented their own little shop space and were putting out their little notes in the windows, or those annoying things, I can't remember what they call now, that they put outside the sandwich boards. And then you kind of stood there and saying, hello, this is my shop. Do you want to come in and see what I have? Do you want to stop and talk for a while? Blogging worked a bit like that too. But then for a long time, social media became more of a everybody together talking about everything all the time. And it was fun. You could find your little cliques. I enjoyed very much being part of the writing community on Twitter before Twitter got crazy. And for a couple of years, that was my happy place. The thing I really enjoyed doing. Going on there, speaking to other authors and speaking to readers, people who liked books, storytelling. We talked about books and films and stories in games and discussed, people who were writing talked about issues they had with their stories and trying to solve problems. It was fun. And then it all fell apart, and so now I'm trying to get back to the mindset I had in 2009, which is hard for someone who can barely remember what they did this morning. And that's where we're starting today. We're going to make some graphics, hopefully, or some kind of images at least, and schedule them. And I was really pleased when I noticed that you can schedule from Canva. Canva is a very simple way to do good enough pictures. So that's what we're going to do. But first of all, we're going to start the new journal. I write a journal every week. Trying to keep track of what I'm doing in my little efforts to become a serious writer. Well, that's not true, because I've been a serious writer all along. But to try to make myself feel like I actually have an almost job. Okay, so Monday. Monday was actually a very exciting day, all things considered, even though it started with going to the doctor's. Oh, hang on, why did my chat die down? You need to stay out. I'm experimenting with loads of things at the moment, and one of them is to have the stream chat on my phone. And now I also figured out that I can do it so I don't have to see the stream window when I do, which is good because that was distracting me before. Now I only see if someone actually says hello in chat. So fingers crossed someone comes and says hello in chat. Otherwise I'll be talking to myself. Mind you, I do that all the time, so I don't know that I would notice the difference, to be honest. Okay, Monday. Now this was a weird Monday. It started with a scheduled trip to the hospital. Which took 5 hours and I think this is a good time for me to talk about something else that happened yesterday. I got back from the hospital. I'd been away for 5 hours. I'm someone who can just about be away from my bed for half an hour because I spend most of my time there. 5 hours I was wiped. I was beyond rescue when I returned home. I just went straight to bed and slept all day and all evening. But then around 9, I woke up and needed tea. And because I had to sit up to drink my tea, I thought, let me do something. do something I normally do when I eat is to watch TikTok. It's the only time of the day I'm allowed to do that. And that's a self-imposed allowed, by the way. I'm not being mishandled by my carers or anything. But I decided I was too tired to write. I was too tired to do anything that required any kind of processing, really. So I went into Steam and opened up my Elder Scrolls Online game that I haven't touched for a few weeks now. And before that, it was more than a year. And then when I started rooting around and checking my characters and things, I realized that you could stream. I mean, everybody knows this, but I'm slow, okay? Maybe I could do some streams from ESO. And if I did, maybe I could do them as one of my characters. Maybe there could be an interesting crossover there. And so I did a test stream for about, I don't know, half an hour or something with ESO on. And I enjoyed it. And I thought this was fun. And I started to see possibilities. And the way my head works is when I see one possibility, it starts to spin and think of other possibilities. So I made another experiment, and because of that, we now have another new thing. Let me see if I can show you. So we are now with podcast. I'm going to be what are you if you're a pirate? You can't be a podcast bro. I'm neither a bro or a man. So I was about to say something that probably isn't advisable when it goes on YouTube. But there are other words that rhyme with bro. Maybe that's what I am. I wanted a podcast for a very long time, and not just me. We, the collective we behind Resilience, have wanted a podcast for a long time, but for a number of reasons it hasn't been possible. And one reason has been time. Both the Bell and the Bear are very busy with real life issues like work and children and things like that. And I was busy in my mind for a long time before I got my new home. But now I have the parts required. I have access to a laptop that things can be wired up to. I have a very clever PA who's figured out how I can do things from bed. I don't even have to get up to do most of them. And I've got a microphone I bought last year, hoping to get started with some kind of recording, because I would love to record our posts and our books. And I did a test and found out that I can take a stream and turn it into a video podcast, a normal podcast with just the sound, because you can split, or rather not split, but you can convert the file from the stream into a sound file, and then it becomes a podcast. And yeah, look at this. Today we have a podcast, the first one. This is, I say we because it's still we, but Lynn's Pirate Life is is going to be the same as Lynn's Desk on my Substack and on our website. The place where I talk about my journey as a spoonie writer, where I talk about, the things I do, the things I have done, sharing part of this journey to try to write myself out of the kind of dependent life I have now to something that maybe gives me a little bit more independence, and also hopefully in the long run starts bringing in a little bit of money so I can do more fun stuff. And maybe going to sit on that. That maybe I'm going to sit on. So yeah, we now have a podcast. There's going to be another one that is, let's say, resilience wide. And there are already recordings done for that. It just has lacked the time and the... I was about to say inclination, but that's not true. The inclination was always there. But I think a lot of it hinged on as well the fact that even if we could do the recordings, because of how the technology we had looked at and the understanding we had at the time was based on that one of us knew how to do podcasts, but that person is very busy, and to put this on them that they would also have to edit and sort out our recordings so that they could then be podcast episodes was a little bit unrealistic, to be fair. But this way, again, sticking to my philosophy of doing shit badly on purpose, we can just get started, and if it turns into something we can publish, then we will. And I think it does. And it doesn't... Of course we want to do good things, but sometimes good things become good things because you've been doing a lot of bad things first, or at least not necessarily stellar things first. So, we have a podcast. The first episode is not what you might expect from a podcast where they have planned and have a script and everything. The first episode is, I think, 7 minutes of me rambling to myself, because when I recorded it, it was a test. And I think I started out by saying, if you can hear this, it means that this experiment worked, and it did. Today, you can find our podcast on YouTube as a video podcast. Mind you, there is not much video going on, but it is available as a video podcast on YouTube. And it is available on Substack as a podcast, and you can get it on places like Spotify. I saw myself on Spotify this morning. That was actually quite special to realize that I can sit here in my little cabin on a pirate ship and talk to myself. And the next day, it is available in places like Spotify, where just about anyone can see them and listen to them. And it's big. It's very big. And we're going to try to make something of that. But it's going to be amusing to me for a long time that's where that channel started. Hopefully, maybe even by the end of this week, we will also kick off the Resilience podcast. I don't know what it's going to be called yet. Maybe we'll call it the Resilience Ship's Logs. Maybe we'll call it something similar. We want to stick to the brand, I think. I'm very proud of the Resilience brand. So, probably. Maybe we should call it Libertalia Litfest. That actually... that does appeal to me too. We'll see about it. Now, let's get into some work and get these timers started. I said let's start. We have a little problem there. I don't really like to start at 38. Okay, so this idea of having the chat on my phone doesn't quite work. If the phone is going to turn off every couple of minutes, I wonder if there's a smarter way of doing that. You know what? We're going to embrace the chaos and just get going. Oh, but that actually reminds me of something I could tell you first. That might sort out my little time lapse issue here. I have another thing to show you. Let's see, where did I put that? Might be here. I am so fascinated. Look at the professionalism that's going into this now. But yeah, no, it doesn't look like much if you normally watch people do this. But for me, it's kind of big. I'm just opening up something new and you can see it. Not if you only listen, but if you're actually watching, you can see it. It's kind of cool. But it would be cooler still if I could see it too. So, it's no secret that I've been very upset about the update to this game that took away the timer, for instance, that we had. We had a perfectly nice timer that looked like a stopwatch, but it didn't have a countdown as such. You could see how there was like a green circle around the watch that kept going down the closer you got to the end of the sprint. But I kind of liked that, because it looked like a stopwatch, right? But wasn't ticking and stressing you out. And then they had an update. And as usual, when people do updates, they also need to update things that maybe they should just have left well alone, or, added instead of taken away. And I don't make games like this, so I don't know if it would have been that much harder or more, I don't know, resource heavy to just add a different layout to the stopwatch so that you could choose if you wanted it to look analog or digital. I don't know. But that's what I would have done if it was me. As it is, we now have this monstrosity that looks like this now, and when I started, which actually I'm just going to go ahead and do and sod the numbers today, it's going to be uneven anyway. Look at that. There's a ticking digital number. That's what I get. I don't like it. I really don't like it. But as I said, as the this update that we got now says that they have listened timer feedback. So clearly I wasn't the only one who was upset. So now they actually say that an alternative circle view for the session timer in the timer options menu is coming, and supposedly it's coming tomorrow, because it says May 21st, and at least if everything goes smoothly, fingers crossed for that they're sorting it out. Give me my stopwatch back or I'm going to be most upset. It's just the way it is. Okay, now I'm going to up. It's very stressful to be streaming and trying to remember that you're not allowed to say bad words when you're very good at saying bad words. So yeah, half an hour. Let's get some work done, starting with the roundup of last week's numbers. That was our first sprint. Sorry. I surprised myself. I got more work done than I thought I would in the first half hour. Very often when I do the sprints, it takes me some time to get into a space where I actually do anything other than just stare at what I'm supposed to be doing or doodle something on a page while I'm trying to get my head to arrive at some kind of conclusion. But today I got straight into it, and I got a little bit organized, set up 2 folders in Canva, one for Insta promos and one for Facebook promos. I have given up on social media, I've said this before, for my personal benefit. And I don't feel like sharing my private life with certain social media owners, if we put it like that, to be as neutral as possible. So I'm removing all of my private things off social media a little bit every week. But I'm trying to post things about what we do that are basically promotional stuff. Not come and buy this book, but more, look, we posted this thing, maybe you'd be interested in that. As it is, I would say that 99% of our content is free. We charge for very few things. We do have a donation option, and we do have tiers available in Substack. So you can have a monthly subscription, or you can become a founding member and pay a little bit more, which some have done. We're very grateful for that, but you don't have to. Pretty much everything we do is free, apart from our books, but some of them are also available to read for free in places. But yeah, with this feature where you can send it, I'm trying. This is going to be the 3rd week now that I'm scheduling straight from Canva to Instagram and to Facebook. And what I saw going through our little roundup of numbers, by the way, we are now getting about 1,000 reads per week, which is quite amazing, given that we're not even 6 months into this journey yet. Meaning the journey of us publishing our blog posts and newsletters via Substack, and as of yesterday, also a podcast. But one thing that we can see is where the traffic comes from, and of social media and sites around, the 2 biggest traffic providers to our Substacks are Facebook and our own website. So, my personal feelings aside, I think that we have to stay on this Meta Dragon. It's kind of funny because I did say that I was going to make an effort to saddle the Meta Dragon, as in figuring out how we could have a presence on Sucky Sucks platforms. And I'm still struggling with that a little bit, but that is where we seem to get most of our reads from. I love the idea of Blue Sky. I would like to have more of a presence there, and we will be working on that too going forward. But for now, to be able to just set up things in Canva, and while I do each graphic, just dunk a little bit of text to them and put them in a calendar, and they will be automatically posted on these accounts or these pages in the case of Facebook. That is very appealing to me. Very appealing. So 20 seconds to go until we roll into the next sprint. I'm going to change the activity for my little avatar here. Put her to do some drawings so we can get some more graphics out. I've done 2 so far. Here we go. I'll see you in the next break. that means it's time for another break. Okay, we've done the second sprint, and I got completely wrapped up in what I was doing, to be honest. I've got 2 more promos done. Doesn't sound like a lot, does it? 2 in half an hour. But I feel like I'm losing a little bit of time just trying to set it up as well and figuring out what works and what doesn't. Of course, Instagram has changed the format of what you can see. You still have to upload square pictures, but they are not shown as square pictures, which is really annoying. So I try to reformat some of them to fit with the new. It's probably not new for most people, but it's new for me because I haven't used Instagram for a long time. But yeah, I'm going to make myself a drink, and you should too, because hydration and all of that. And then we have one more sprint to go that starts in about 3 minutes. And our stream is coming to an end. We just finished our third sprint. I hope it was as creative for you as it was for me. I am selfishly mainly doing these streams for myself, but I really enjoy when people tune in and when someone wants to talk to me in the chat while we're working. I may, and I'm saying may because this is not cut in stone yet, but I may do a game stream at some point this week. I haven't decided whether I will do that from this account as in on the Resilience Pirates though, or if I'll do it from Linnea Lucifer. We'll think about that. But for now, I hope you have a good day. Look after yourself. And I shall see you again tomorrow. Bye.